Hello and welcome to my channel, Striving for Better. Today we're going to be going over chess analysis number 9, which was played while I was back home on vacation between username Oleg 1691192. That's pretty long, rated about 1104, and myself, which I was rated at 1071 when this came on. It actually featured a mainline Scandinavian, pretty far deep. I think the first 7 moves still had like theory behind them, so that's pretty impressive for a couple lower rated players like ourselves. So that was really fun. This game involved opposite side castling, and then basically I got behind by a minor piece, and then I almost was able to come back by pushing my pawn, but then made a mistake at the end, and he was able to convert it to the win. But all right, this game was over 70-some moves, so I'll try to keep this as brief but still hitting all the important parts as possible. All right, let's get into the game. Getting right into it, we have that main line of the Scandinavian. As you can see, I like to play with the queen out and then bishop to f5. Now here he has a nasty discovered attack on that queen, so I have to be able to get my queen out of there. So that's why I bring the c-pawn up, and I believe this position has already been, this next move right here has already been reached at least 20 times in the one database that I'm looking at. So these next couple moves is obviously discovered attack on the queen, so getting it back. He takes here. These are kind of like, maybe not the taking on f6, but these are kind of main ideas in the Scandinavian. And here I offer him a queen trade, he accepts, and we have opposite side castling. So these next couple moves, you know, I'm just trying to, as well as him, find good squares for my pieces. He moves this pawn, I'm getting my knight out. I'm thinking about jumping my knight into d5 or capturing his bishop if he lets me, and he makes a little bit of I think an error here because this allows me to capture the bishop and weaken his pawn structure at the same time. Now he has an isolated a pawn, he has doubled pawns on the c file, and his king's open for attack. So this is kind of I don't think the most accurate move either. I think the computer wants me to move my light squared bishop back to e6 so that it can really lock in with that pawn on f7, like preventing his rook from going out and also seeing down that light square diagonal. But I go for this exchange, just trying to lessen the pieces that are around his king and also open the way up for my rook a little bit, and that's why I bring my rook in here. And now basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to attack his king while bringing my pieces to bear. So I keep pushing, like I keep pushing the pawn, seeing what I can get, because, you know, it's protected by my bishop. He moves it back, and then this allows me to jump in here and take this pawn because it's protected. And here's where I take a completely winning position and give it all away now. By first I make this mistake. I should have just reinforced my b pawn with my a pawn. And then here I make the real blunder, which is I thought that I was going to lose my rook to his king by having to move my bishop off that diagonal. I didn't even think about moving my bishop back, I'll be honest. I was just blinded, so I sacrificed the bishop for a pawn to be able to move my rook back. And then here, I wanted to avoid this, but we wind up trading pieces, which is not what you want to do when you're down a minor piece, because now it's going to be easier for him to win. So I, of course, declined trading any more than I had to. And here I'm just trying to maneuver my rook to try to pick something up to win. Right now, mine and his rooks, you know, are protecting that my a pawn, or he's attacking, I'm protecting it, so we're kind of staring each other down. So this is when I try to open it up on the other side of the board, saying, all right, both of our rooks are locked down right now, but they can still come into play. Let me just try to open it up a little bit, and now I saw a way that I could win this pawn here, and now I have 3 pawns. Well, it's about to be a little bit less because I wound up giving up one of mine, but I'll have 2 pawns that have a straight shot to promote their passed, and it's going to be my 2 passed pawns versus his 2 passed pawns. So what happens is he takes my pawn, I protect, and now basically the next 20-some moves are shuffling pieces around, me trying to win his a pawn and then trying to get my rook behind my pawns to be able to push them forward. But I'm playing a very careful game here. I know I'm down a lot, and I'm trying to protect what little I have while not letting him advance his pawn. So as you can see, start shuffling, he starts giving me checks. I'm able to pick that pawn up. He's checking with his knight. Eventually he comes off it and allows me to check him, and then allows me to get eventually my rook over and behind my pawn. He's trying to block here. I'm just slowly moving my pieces up. My king's getting closer and closer, escorting this pawn up, and eventually I come to a place where he feels compelled that this pawn is going to promote unless he takes it. So I take, or he takes my knight. I take, with my king obviously still protecting my pawn. And then here is where I mess up, because right now it's considered a draw, because it's going to be, it's 2 passed pawns that are about to promote versus 2 rooks. The computer considers this a draw. Obviously, at our level, we make mistakes. My first one was not moving my rook all the way down to the 8th rank. And then right here, I thought that I could sacrifice my rook and be able to promote, but this was just completely bad for so many reasons. One being that he just takes my rook and now I'm in check. And then he takes that pawn because he knows he can just promote to a queen and hunt me down as he does. But basically, I just miscalculated, and it was so late in the game that there wasn't a lot to do, that once I gave him my rook away, that the game was all over. So I thought it was pretty good at first. I was winning, I blundered, he came back, and then I was able to fight it back to a position, that in theory should be drawable, and then blundered again. So it was a very up and down wild ride for me, but overall pretty exciting. All right, now wasn't that fun? I know, I was pretty excited. I thought I was really going to come back there for a second, but then I completely missed that he was going to, when he took my rook, that he was going to put me in check, and then it was all over from there. But I thought it was a pretty well fought game, definitely excited. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching my channel, and have a nice day.